So, good morning, good afternoon. Here for a couple of moments, we're going to talk about the power of the dead and why do we honor them. We'll look. There's a copy of the slides I used for this presentation on the website for school. We'll look real quickly at why the living honor the dead. I mean, after all, they're dead. What do the living get out of the process, and what do the dead get out of the process? So, first of all, for the living, we spend almost $32 billion a year honoring the dead. Latest figures from 2025 have about two-thirds cremation and one-third burials. Average burial, traditional burial being a little over $8,000. Average cremational process, about $6,000, a little over. So that's a lot of resources. Why do we do this? One of the reasons may be encaptured in a poem you might be aware of called In Flanders Field. If you'll bear with me just a moment. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amidst the guns below. And we are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from falling hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Perhaps one of the reasons we honor the dead is we think that somehow, and perhaps it does, give them some sort of sense of solace or peace. At least we like to assure ourselves that that is the case. And who knows? It very well may be. The power of the dead, according to Perot, is it matters across various religions, whether it's circumstances, whether it's any particular belief or the absence of any belief. Um, It matters because the living process needs the dead, excuse me, the living need the dead far more than the dead need the living. It matters because the dead make social worlds. It matters because we cannot live or cannot bear to live at the edges of our own mortality. So I guess the two reasons we honor the dead are one, a positive. It enhances our sense of self. It gives us a memory. It gives us a context to answer that question internally, who am I? And secondly, along the same lines, but from a negative perspective, it sort of prevents us from having to feel the pain of death quite as starkly as some of us might. Erik Erikson said that self is an integration of childhood identifications, the vicissitudes of the libido, aptitudes developed out of endowment, and opportunities offered in social roles, all working together, as it were, to confer upon life a sense of inner sameness and continuity. Self. It's the answer to that question, who am I? I challenge any of us to answer that question in our own minds without referring to something or someone outside of ourselves. So we need or we use all these inputs as almost like a psychic mirror to develop our sense of self. And the dead, or those loved ones and those people in our lives, whether living or dead, have a big impact on our sense of self. So just because somebody's passed on, it doesn't mean grandma doesn't love you. And quite frankly, I personally think that's true. So remembering my ancestors, remembering my family, remembering the impact they had on me, what my parents did for me, how I reacted to them, how they reacted to me, that gives me a sense of calm and it helps me develop a sense of who I am. So in closing, in summary, I guess we would say, why do the living honor the dead? Well, ultimately, one, to enhance our sense of self. It kind of helps us answer the question of who am I? And secondly, to help inoculate us against the fear of death. Um, what do the dead get out of the process? It's kind of hard to say. After all, like we noted earlier, they're dead. But we like to think maybe they do get something out of it. What do we get out of it, the living? A little more definitive there. Number one, we get an enhanced sense of self. Number two, We get a familiarity with death, which helps inoculate us against the fear of the process. And maybe a little more mundanely, but in actuality, a very dependable economic process to the tune, currently in America, of about $30 billion a year. Live long and prosper.